gotta catch that wind before you run aground. You gotta live it up and drink 'em down.
Howdy there. I'm Matt McKinley, and we're burning daylight.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining in. Happy Saturday. George is here for the cattle market report. He's working on some getting it shared on his page. So in the meantime, we'll just run our ads. This episode of Burning Daylight, just like all of them, brought to you by Stetson Ranches up there in Fromberg, Montana. Got a multi-generational ranching family looking to expand on that for many generations to come. Build a sustainable, profitable, and sustainable in the truest meaning of the word, not the Greenpeace version. Actually sustainable to support multiple families for generations to come. And the cornerstone of what they got going on is their direct-to-consumer beef program. You're looking at a guaranteed prime carcass for about $6.95 a pound for as little as an eighth of a beef, all the way up to a full beef or multiple. If that's what your appetite is, he'll go ahead and satisfy that appetite. These are registered Angus cows, covered by registered Hereford bulls. We got some F1 Black Baldy calves, really nice cattle. They've also got a really cool old foundation bloodline quarter horse remuda they got going there. Bred back to some really good studs. We're talking like Zanpar Bar, Two-Eyed Jack, all on the papers, not like 10 generations back, but they're still on their registration papers. These are nice, deep-bodied, big-boned, athletic mares. Really nice set of horses. Really good cattle. Great people. If you got any questions on the beef program, just shoot me a message over at Burning Daylight, and we'll get you hooked up. So and then go follow Jese Stetson on Instagram. Jesse with one S, and tell me you heard about it on Burning Daylight. Next up, we got George, your favorite cattle baron in North America. We're I don't know if you're aware of this now, George, but you're the best sale barn in North America there at Loma.
Thank you very much. It's a huge honor because North America is a continent, and that's when you're making steps.
Yeah, well, and one of these days I'll just go ahead and decide to say the whole world, and then it'll be official.
Thank you. Hey, and I'll be patiently awaiting that kind of great compliment.
Perfect. I'll when the timing is right. I don't know when that'll be, but it's gonna be rad.
Like, I'm getting excited about it already, and I'm already riding the high of being the best in the continent. Which is
well, it's because you're doing things right over there at Loma. You're right now bi-weekly sale.
Bi-monthly,
semi-weekly. Just finished up a sale yesterday. Friday after next will be the next one. How was that sale, George?
Man, it was like, we're catching a little rain there, southern Colorado, different stuff, just a little bit of reprieve. Not saying it's going to save these guys, but it kind of held them up a little bit, so we didn't have as many pairs to split, which I was really happy about.
Yeah.
I hate having to do that. But the cow market was salty. I mean, again, those whey cows, 70 plus, pretty much all day long, 68 to 75 on those cows. And those cold bulls were 90 to 95 cents again. Which, I mean, those are good prices. Been in the deal my whole life. And anytime you start saying a 70-cent cow and a 90-cent plus bull for coal prices, I mean, you got to kind of like that. Then we actually sold some 800-pound feeders for $1.38, which is just tens of dollars higher than where we were in the heart of the pandemic close down. I mean, so it was 230 head. It by no means a barn burner sale or anything like that, but I was just really pretty pumped about it, honestly, just because there's good prices, good cattle, good prices, and a little bit little bit better when you can sell a coal cow for 1,100 and a bull for 2,000.
Heck yeah. How about the steers? Steve was asking, do you have a whole bunch of steers?
Not a bunch of steers, Steve, but we did have one good, smooth 50,000 pound load of some 805 weights. They sold for 135, and these ones weren't coming off of grass yearlings. These were coming out of a girl yard, so there's about moderate condition on them. Not like a grass, not like real kind of thin off of grass. So I thought they did really good. These good cattle, though, real good cattle. And then some 9 weights that sold for about $1.28. And then we had a couple 1,000-pound heifers bring like $1.10. So the feeders weren't well represented, but the best representation we've seen on them for probably the best part of a month and a half. And I mean, there was good demand. There's 4 or 5 guys there wanting to buy them and one on the internet. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of exciting in that way.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Like, it's good to have, small town sale barns up. I mean, it's the truest form of a free market is just running through there, and those cows are worth what everybody is willing to give you, and or what one person is willing to give you, and it's. I mean, that sets the standard for everything else throughout the industry, and the more you can have a thriving sale barn like Loma Livestock, the better it is for the cattle market and as a whole. And that's why, like, I'm really glad that you came on board, George, especially when you did. I mean, you're just getting started out, and now you got
that was cool.
You got some big plans in the future. But before we head on into that, we'll finish up this deal. Is you can find them at lomalivestock.com. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram, Loma Livestock. Go follow them, share their stuff, check them out. If you can't make it to the sale on Fridays, you can check them out online, dvauction.com. Click on the Loma Livestock tab. You can watch the sale and you can bid right there. It's a beautiful thing, technology, when it's used right, and these guys are using it right. And you can call the office if you got any questions, want to consign, 970-858-9988. You can call George himself. He may answer. He's a busy man, but he always calls back.
Yeah, I did exactly. Or text.
Yeah, if you text him, he's pretty well bound to text you back. Call's a little hit or miss.
Exactly, dude. I appreciate you letting me come on and riding this journey with you, because as you go up, the wave lifts all ships. I mean, the wave lifts and you're getting followers and a lot of cool stuff going on. So it's cool to be a part of it with you there too. So I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And yeah, well, I want to hear some more about your new program we got going on at Loma. But before that, last sponsor of the day, we got Matt Wilson there in Silver Lake, Oregon. He's a buckaroo type cowboy and an artist in every sense of the word. He's making handmade bridle bits, and they're awesome. I've got one. It's really as good as they come. You're getting a handmade quality, hand engraved, piece of artwork. And you're getting them for the most part at working cowboy wages, because Matt's a working cowboy just like the rest of us, and but he also knows quality gear. That's what makes the world go around. But he understands you can't take out a mortgage on a bridle bit, so his prices are competitive and very very conducive to the working cowboy. He's also a hell of a musician. His family is awesome. That's me and my wife's couple goals for the future is to have a spread out in the middle of nowhere, and we'll form a family band. And George might be invited. I don't know.
Hey, dude, bring it! Come on, I'm gonna play what was their play on 8 seconds? You know that
oh
those
yeah,
spoons?
yeah, for sure. We'll have to see you break out the wedding dance too. That's always a classic.
Absolutely, I'm ready anytime.
I don't know if Matt Wilson
phone.
can do that dance, but I bet you he'll give her a hell of a try, and it'll be funny as shit.
Yeah, a guy like him, he'd probably do it good.
Oh man, he's a character. If you want to follow any of his antics and see the work that he puts out, you can follow him on Instagram at WampusCatSound, WampusCatSound, all one word. Cool guy, and all these sponsors that I have, they really add a lot to the show. This isn't a bunch of bullshit because they're paying me money. A lot of times they don't. It's a horse trade deal, but these guys see the value in the show, and their contributions are greatly appreciated. So go check them out, and if you do any business with them, or even if you're just stopping by to say hey, just let them know you heard about it on Burning Daylight. That lets them know that I'm doing my job, and it's just good for everybody around. So thanks George and Jesse and Matt Wilson and everybody else who's contributed. It's pretty awesome. I can't state enough how cool it is and how helpful it is for this deal. But George, you were telling me about this new tagging system you've got setting up there at Loma.
I'm really pumped about that. And I would just touch on one more market thing. On the end of this week or yesterday, we had two big reports come out, cattle on feed report and the biannual cattle inventory numbers. And so you watch a futures reports really matters. That's what everything gets traded on. Right, wrong, or indifferent, what you think, what the info is when it comes out, everybody gets to make their speculative guess or hedge decisions based on kind of the numbers that come out. And, expectations were to be 5% more placed than this time last year, same month, 105% on placements. And they're supposed to be about 1% more cattle on feed, just a little bit over 100.7 or something. And then the marketing number, which is how many fat cattle got sold, was supposed to be around even with last year at 100. Well, the numbers came in, and then the other big marquee guesses were on the cattle outside of feed yards and the biannual cattle numbers. There's one focus there, and that's feeder cattle outside of the feed yards. So how the numbers came in was only 2% more placed. So we're about 0.5% under cattle on feed where we were last year, and marketing was about 101, so percent higher. That's our slaughter numbers. And this is all for the month of June. The big one, I thought, was they were expecting cattle on feed outside of feed yards, or so feeder cattle, to be 1 million head higher than it was last year. Mm-hmm. So that number came in at only 300,000 head higher. So that's got to be looked at somewhat of a friendly number, supply side wise. I mean, from my figures, we've done about 1.3 million less cattle placed into the feedlot over the past 3 months. And these aren't exact. I think this is close anyways from what I could read off the USDA numbers. And we have slaughtered, about a little under 800,000 cattle less than we had to this point this year. Right now is to this point last year. But the interesting thing about that 300G outside of feedlots instead of that 1 million is we're 1.3 million cattle under placements over the last 3 months. And if the government's right and there's only 300,000 head more outside the feed yards, there's definitely a case to be made that there could be less feeder cattle outside the feed yards to get put in over the next 6 months. Now, take that all with your grain of salt and everybody do their own studies on it. But those are just some of the things that I find kind of interesting and maybe even friendly, at least when we're talking supply side of this market going forward.
Hell yeah.
So I just wanted to touch on
it sounds promising, George and I agree pretty well on this issue that, supply and demand, that's what drives your price. I mean, regardless of what kind of controls are put in, at the end of the day, it's, a restricted supply means higher prices because there's less of something. Every time you got more of something, the price of it's going to go down unless it's like artificially kept high. So it's if those numbers are right, then you're going to see an increased demand for feeder cattle or cattle going on to feed, and that's going to drive prices.
Kind of what I mean, and go right back to that supply demand simple chart, just like you said. And so I actually thought that was pretty dang, in a world where it's hard to get optimistic, and I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. So I guess you got to take what I say with a grain of salt, because I do want to get excited and see the good and what could happen. But just in hardcore raw numbers, I find it hard to be really, really pessimistic, at least on the supply side of over, just a deluge of cattle in the next even 12 months. I think we're working through our biggest supplies as we speak.
Yeah. I appreciate the optimistic point of view. It's pretty easy to get just bummed out the way the world is right now. And you got to find good news where you can. And I think that's a bit of good news.
I do too, man. And then I'll get back to what you're saying, what we're doing at Loma now. And I'm really, really pumped about this. And like you said, technology, I'm really into it. It's probably just we're like the first part of the generation. I remember iPhones came out when we were like a freshman in college.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted for the longest time. And so technology is coming into the cattle deal really cool. Like, I think, and high frequency tags is what I think is kind of the next go-to. And a high frequency tag is kind of like your low frequency tags, those EID buttons that a lot of people are putting in now. We've been putting them in for a long time. Really like them. But this tag you can read from 30 feet away with some readers. That's the one big benefit over the low frequency. A lot of these tags there's two different kind of tags that we'll use. For feeders, we'll just have a strip tag. That's not a official tag, if you will, for interstate travel. Like for cows or anything older, we'll put an official tag in them. And I think eventually that's going to be the main tag. You know how you have your steel tags now, and they're right here for the bangs?
Yeah.
Those metal tags. And I don't like those things that much, and it's hard they always get infected and stuff. And these tags can eventually maybe replace that and make it so much easier for interstate travel. Moving bred cattle anymore across state lines, like especially into Utah, they have that brucellosis deal going on. I mean, you got to be really careful and got to be really traceable. And the stress on the cattle that you have to put them through just to get the bangs for one load, you have to get her in there, and then she might be swinging her head and, and all that. And you're trying to read a number that's been on there for 8 years. And this time, those tags that they get put on, and how we have it set up in the barn, or we'll have it set up, is the calves will unload. This year, there won't be as many with the high frequencies. We're going to put them in, but we're going to try to have more and more producers meetings to explain, to let sell the tags to the producers, let them put them on at the ranch. And then when they come off the truck, those readers will read them, bing, bing, bing. They'll go right into an individual weigh scale, and that'll scan them. We'll dock them into the person, the brand. We'll put all their vaccine protocols in there. So say if you're a VAC 45, if you will, pretty much 2 rounds of modified live on the mom, 1 round at weaning, and a 45-day wean, you'll get I forgot what color, but let's say it's like I think it was like an orange tag. So one of these strip tags will be orange for that. That's your program. It'll be in the computer. Anyways, you go out, the calf will go to feed, and then we'll bring him to sell tomorrow, the next day, or that day, or whatever. And it'll go through the ring. It'll have all the readers on it. And so that'll go into our clerk computer, and then it'll go out the gate. And then when it gets loaded out, it gets scanned too. Okay. And this is beyond the seller side, but onto the buyer side. A lot of these buyers, especially more of these Kansas feedlots, are or have all those high frequency readers set up on their chutes as well. So they unload, they can process them, they can check them in really easy. What I like about this to the seller is there hasn't been an easy way to track down like really good cattle, if you will, like, because a big corporate buys it, you work for one, you might put them in a 300 head pen, might be 100 head from over here, 100 head from over, whatever. And you're feeding a lot of cattle. Well, I think those buyers will be able to now differentiate that product even in an individual animal type of way, all the way to the rail, because the big four in Kansas, they're putting these into the slaughterhouses too. So I think it'll ring through, and the producer goes, how do I get benefit out of that? The key is you probably don't the first year, and that's to be quite honest, but it's for the third and the fourth year, because there's now when people, if your calves are kind of genetically really good, you have a really good protocol in your vaccine, your calves stay healthy and everything. Now these guys have a way to find out which calves that is. Even if it's coming from Loma Livestock barn, it'll make that whole area better. That whole region better for prices. And inventory tracking. It's really cool too. I mean, you can put readers on a salt lick. I'm going to start putting them on my bunk lines there at Loma, at that little feed yard we have. And just to do data on consumption and who comes to the bunk and
heck yeah,
all sorts of different stuff. So those feeder tags, they're $2 a piece. They're the non-official, the little strips. And the other ones are $3 a piece. The official tags, the bigger ones, you put on a cow, you can get them on any color you want and everything else. You can leave them blank so you could ride on them or whatever. Calf tags the same way. You can. The cool part is if you start using any tag when you calve or whatever, even if you don't, it's okay. But if you do, you'd have their mom's number on the tag. And so when I bring them in, I'll do an individual weaning weight, and I'll put that visual ID as well as the high frequency tag number in there. So when I give you your check back, it'll have another call coming in. That might be really the first benefit that the producer gets the first year, is just kind of being able to track your cow performance through that individual weaning weight of that calf.
Yeah.
And then
that's pretty handy.
In a co-mingle sale, we got some producers that are a little bit smaller, maybe 10, 20, 40, 100 head guys. Not saying 100 head smaller, but we can, if people come in there now with these tags and you have like cattle and like vaccine protocols, and you're in agreement with each other that you can sell those cattle together, where we can put your 10 head in with another guy's 20, so on and so forth, be able to percentage pay out by each individual weight on the calf, and then sell them all as a load lot, which is going to benefit it maybe $5 to $10 a hundred from selling them in small groups.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
So I don't know. I want to educate more. I'll put more videos and stuff on it for people who want to learn more about it and stuff like that. So just to kind of promote it for the next few years.
Heck yeah. Well, let me know when you do, and I'll make sure and share that on our page too. And yeah, we'll get the word out there. I think you're ahead of the game on this type of situation, George.
Well, I appreciate it, dude. I mean, that's what I'm hoping, and it, sometimes it's like, what do you do? People are like, oh, I don't, kind of hesitant, but I'm just going to lead the trail, lead the way, and see if there's no sale barns using it right now, but it's very few,
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think it's definitely an early adopter move, and you may catch some shit for it, and people may think you're crazy, but give it a couple years and you'll look like a genius.
That's what I'm hoping to. It would have been called crazy for a long time, anyways.
Oh yeah, that's nothing new. Hey, it sounds like sports might be kind of halfway back. We're playing baseball now. That's a good sign.
I know. I mean, I love that.
Oh
I
yeah.
just wish it's so weird without the fans. I just can't wait till they can come back in.
I know. I love the NHL's move because from what it sounded like, if the NHL couldn't go, like that whole league might have been done, and they're just like, fuck it, we're playing. And
yeah,
the hockey players are savages anyways, so they don't care. What's COVID going to do to them if you got 9 teeth knocked out of your head by a puck and you just got your gums stitched back up and went back in and played? What's COVID going to do to that guy?
I mean, that's nothing. And that's what I love. Just push forward and do it.
Yeah.
Because then everybody's like, oh, well, they're doing it. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's for once in their entire history, the Canadians were leaders and and just went forth and said, fuck it, we got nothing else to lose. I guess it's an American league, but let's face it, it's a Canadian sport. And
oh, absolutely.
But it was cool, just like, of course it's the hockey players who are just like, fuck it, let's get on the ice, eh?
hey, Malcolm, let's go.
Yeah, and then baseball's back, so that's good. I haven't heard much on the NFL. I haven't really been paying attention, but I think we're going to start seeing some tensions de-escalate when there's a little more distraction out there too.
I think that's the whole beauty in this. I think most people, like, let's just say in the city, like, it might be different for us because we got a lot of different shit to do all the time.
Yeah.
But in the city, I mean, that's what you look forward to. That's what I mean, that's what they got. Sports and happy hours, like you said, so, or they're going to riot.
Yeah.
Get the sports back on.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to save this country is sports and happy hours.
Yeah.
That's, it's, I think once we get some distractions out there, those tensions ain't going to go away by any means, but I don't think they're going to be elevated like they are. Oh, looks like he's froze. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like we talked on the Ladies Bull session when Joe Exotic was the talk of the country. The quarantine didn't sound so bad, and then once all the new content dried up, shit went to hell in a handbasket. It started getting warmer, and it's downhill from there. So I think now that we got some entertainment coming back, hopefully we'll start seeing some more live shows, whether it be music or comedy or musicals or anything like that. That's gonna benefit the morale of the country for sure. And I don't know, maybe it'll just ease some of the tensions. Hopefully, I don't know, but I think we're gonna wrap there for today. I don't know if George lost service or what, but that's how it goes when you're a busy man. So thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you go check out all these guys that support the show, guys and gals. Stetson Ranches, Loma Livestock, Matt Wilson. Go follow them. Make sure you let them know you heard about them on Burning Daylight. If you're a new listener, make sure you hit the subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And go check out the YouTube channel as well. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live and all that. And I think if you look in the right places, there's good news to be had. Turn off the cable news and just do your own research. I think the world's not as bad as everybody's making it out to be. Just you gotta look a little harder to find the the optimistic side of things. And that's what a good thing about that. That's a good thing about George on the podcast. He's always looking on the bright side of things. And I think he's right a lot of times. So thanks again for tuning in, listening. Make sure you share it if you like it, and go follow me on all the usual spots. Matt McKinley on Facebook, at Maker Mac at Maker Mac 85 on Twitter and Instagram. Burning Daylight page on Facebook, YouTube, at Move Your Ass on all the other ones. So and also go check out the website burning-daylight.com. We'll have some new merch up on the store here shortly. And I think you'll like it. But that's going to do it for me. I've got to do some other stuff around the house today. So, move your ass. We're burning daylight.